Hello and welcome to NHN. Today we have Renata from Nourish with Renata, and Natural Health Network is a vetted directory of holistic health providers, and we have everything from providers, services, and eventually we will have restaurants and all kinds of things across the United States for people in the community to find holistic health services. And so we do an interview with each one of our providers, and I'm so excited to meet with Renata today. Hello, Renata. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and what your background is in education and things like that.
Yeah, well, thank you. So, my background is really interesting because originally I actually started off in a completely different field and found my way into nutrition. The reason why I got into nutrition was because of my daughter. So, I currently have 3 kids. And what was really interesting when my first child was born, Olivia, she had a lot of gastrointestinal issues as an infant. And I didn't know why. It was definitely one of those things as a first time parent where you're scratching your head, wondering, what am I going to do? How am I going to help her to feel better? So we had a really incredible pediatrician who listened to all of our concerns. We gave him all of the symptoms that Olivia was experiencing. And he told me something that I really hadn't thought of, which was that she may be allergic to some food that I was consuming and getting it through the breast milk. So we decided to do essentially an elimination diet where I took out dairy. And I didn't know at the time, but dairy was one of the most common allergens for infants. What was amazing was that she had a huge turnaround just by removing dairy from my diet. So all of her gastrointestinal symptoms diminished and then disappeared. And what was even more crazy was that I realized I was feeling better too. So I'd been wandering around this whole time, not realizing that I was also having a low level of inflammation throughout my body. So once I took out dairy, not only did it help my daughter, but it helped me. And that really got my wheels turning and thinking about, wow, this amazing power of food. It can literally harm us, like causing some of the symptoms that Olivia was experiencing and that I was experiencing, but also it can really heal us too. And that was the beginning of my journey into nutrition. So once I kind of uncovered all of those things, I actually helped my husband to heal his digestive issues, which were different. He was suffering from a lot of gastritis. So he had inflammation of the stomach lining, and we were able to heal that as well as to reduce his cholesterol levels. So his digestion improved. And it really got me diving deep into the power of food. And from there, I ended up getting 2 certifications, one from the National Academy of Sports Medicine and the other from Precision Nutrition in nutrition coaching. I also got some additional training in functional nutrition, because I really felt like this was helping to get to the root cause of many chronic conditions or illnesses that people have nowadays. And I felt like and continue to feel like this is really the path forward when it comes to nutrition.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I can speak to even food sensitivities in my kids and myself, that it does make a huge difference, and many do not realize. Into what made you choose the different certifications?
Yeah, well, definitely when I got into nutrition at first, one of the big things that people always come to me for is weight loss. And so, as you can tell, like that is a pretty generalized scope when it comes to nutrition. Everybody at some point in their lives wants to lose a little bit of weight. So, my first certification was in fitness nutrition because it made sense at that time. And then,
Mhm.
as I continued to grow and develop and mature as a nutrition coach and a human, I really started to realize, wow, women specifically need some different attention. They need some more nuanced care, especially when it comes to nutrition and women's hormones. And that's when I started to get even more specific. about what I wanted to help people with. Yes, it started off with weight loss, which does affect women's hormones too, but I wanted to get to, once again, that root cause of why women's hormones were imbalanced in the first place. And kind of to the original question, the reason why that was so important to me was because I myself, without realizing it for years and years, had been suffering from hormonal imbalances and was never diagnosed by a conventional doctor at the time. Instead, I was given multiple different forms of hormonal birth control, which did not fix the issue because ultimately it was just treating a symptom. So I had to really take my own health into my own hands, let go of those medications, which I knew were not serving me, in addition to the multitude of other symptoms that I was developing from taking them for so long. And as a result, I dived headfirst into nutrition for hormones, was able to heal my body to stop all of the symptoms that I was experiencing, such as breakthrough bleeding, such as issues with emotions, rage, mood swings, blood sugar dysregulation as well. But also, most importantly, being able to successfully conceive a child even in my late 30s, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. And I think that I calculated it's less than a 5% chance of that happening. So you can see the incredible benefits from learning about your body, learning about hormones, and being able to eat in a way that supports natural hormone balance.
Yeah, and if you check her out on Instagram, she's always posting all of these videos. Like, Renata, I have to get your cookbook because they all look so good. With that said, what services do you offer?
Yes. So primarily I offer one-on-one nutrition and hormone coaching, and that can happen in person or virtually over Zoom. During those calls, we look at what are your specific goals? How do we measure success with your goals when it comes to your health? As well as determining what is a reasonable and strategic path forward that actually fits in with your lifestyle. As opposed to making you try to fit into some cookie cutter program, I'm really all about bespoke programming so that you can feel comfortable with the way in which we're moving forward, whether it be with a food first approach, whether it be if we need to make sure you have specific meal plans to implement ingredients or supplements to help to boost your journey along faster and further. In addition to that, I offer group coaching programs at periodic times during the year. And I also have some video programs available, which is amazing in terms of a lower cost option and something that you can actually do within your own time frame as well. So there's a few different opportunities to work with me virtually, in person, in the group setting, as well as one-on-one.
Okay, so the video is kind of like a course, I'm assuming.
That's correct. Yeah, like a pre-recorded video program.
Okay, and how does someone know which one is for them? Do you have a consultation?
I do. So I offer free 20-minute consultations, and there's a form on my website, nourishwithrenata.com. You can fill that out. And from that point, I'll be able to guide you into which program, whether it's self-paced, pre-recorded, or group or one-on-one, that I think would be the most beneficial for you.
Okay, great. And they can also find your information on naturalhealthnetwork.org in the directory. And all of your links are there if they want to follow you on social and find those really yummy recipes and all the things that you post that are so helpful. So who would your ideal client be?
My ideal client would be a woman who has realized that there is something else going on with her health. Perhaps she's done all the things that most people do. You've cleaned up your eating, you're trying to work out regularly, but you're not necessarily seeing the impact of those actions. And you're also questioning, maybe I have an issue with my hormones. You might have also gone to doctors or other medical practitioners and not been able to get a solution, or perhaps at worst, really not been listened to. Maybe your lab tests have come back within the quote unquote traditional normal range, but that doesn't actually help you to find a real reason why you're not feeling right. And these are the women that I really encourage to come to me for the consultations, because I understand what that's like, having been through something very similar myself, and have had so many women come to me saying the exact same things. And what's so powerful about my coaching space is that I really aim to listen deeply to what are the symptoms that you're experiencing that maybe no one else has been able to put these puzzle pieces together yet. and as well as determining what can actually help you right now today so that you can feel comfortable and confident that you are doing things that will literally help to either minimize or completely eliminate the symptoms that you're experiencing. So that would be my ideal client. And I really recommend, if you feel like something is off, but no one is listening to you, keep being an advocate for yourself, whether it's myself or anyone else in the Natural Health Network. There is someone here to help you.
Yes, and I'll just retouch on something that you said because I've had this experience myself. Something that I didn't know and many people don't know is that when you go to, like, I guess you'll call it your more traditional MD doctor, or any gynecologist or things like that, they they look at blood work averages a lot differently, and they go by it's averaged over all of these people that are getting blood work because there's something wrong, and then there's the average, and they're saying, oh, there's nothing wrong, you're in range. Well, you're in range for someone that there's something wrong. To where that's why I love holistic medicine and things like what you do, because you can really know, first of all, to pull maybe some different panels and things like that, and then also to see those optimal ranges and to really pinpoint what's going on. And so I know that you also partner with someone to be able to do those lab tests and blood work and things like that, right?
That's correct. Yes. So I work very closely with a naturopathic doctor, which is wonderful, in order to be able to run various different kinds of tests, as well as getting her expertise on things like gut health issues, digestion, as well as fertility.
Do you have a favorite success story from one or more of your clients?
Yes. So I have an amazing success story from a client. Her name is Dana, and she's given me permission to be able to use her name. What was really interesting about Dana was last year she came to me suffering from what's called PMDD, which is an acronym for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Now, what's interesting about PMDD is that there's not one test that you can do to say, yes, I 100% have this. It's more so based upon a number of symptoms that you experience over the course of multiple cycles. So what she was experiencing was very heavy menstrual bleeding, as well as she was having significant issues with emotions and mood. Now, it might sound like I'm saying it lightly, but we're talking about PMS on steroids is basically what PMDD is. It is affecting your life. It is affecting your relationships, whether they be work relationships or personal relationships. It got so bad that she literally had road rage one day where she got out of the vehicle because she was cut off in the middle of the parking lot. And obviously that could have resulted in a much worse scenario occurring. Thankfully, it didn't. But just to highlight the huge range of emotions that she was experiencing in roughly the week leading up to her bleed or her menstruation. In addition, she had things like significant bloating. She had hair loss as well that she couldn't explain. She had significant headaches and breast tenderness. All of these things were symptoms that we continue to track over time, in addition to adjusting her nutrition. So based upon her symptoms, I could also see that she was suffering from estrogen dominance. So basically a high level of estrogen being circulated through her body. And that can cause the things like the really heavy bleeding, the really heavy cramps, especially in days 1 to 3 of your menstruation. So what was powerful was as she got more consistent with her nutrition, it was honestly within the first 30 to 60 days, so the first 1 to 2 cycles after starting the different nutrition, that she started to see all of her PMDD symptoms start to reduce. So her bleeding wasn't as severe, her cramping reduced, her breast tenderness, her headaches, all of those things minimized, and her hair stopped falling out. And especially for as a woman, hair loss can be a really big indicator for lots of different things, including mineral depletion. So we had a lot of different things that we were working on through simply adjusting her diet. Now, the secondary thing that we did was she also had lab testing done. And she actually had lab testing done in every phase of her cycle. And it was from that process, which was going back to the doctor and getting labs done every week or so, Sometimes you had to wait. So you can see that the commitment was there to be able to get the lab testing done. It further proved her hormonal imbalance. So we saw significantly higher estrogen, we saw significantly lower progesterone levels. And that's important because that affects things like our anxiety or our depressive symptoms. So, all that to say, within the first 1 to 2 months of shifting nutrition, double checking labs, we're able to confirm her diagnosis of PMDD, and we're able to start minimizing and then eliminating her symptoms. And that's one of my best success stories because it shows you the power, once again, of healing nutrition.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you were able to eliminate all of those things without medication, just adjusting diet. And is
Exactly.
she able to go out into the world and like eat at a restaurant or things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the best things is that I never expect anyone to never eat the foods that they love or they grew up having or
Mhm.
never go out to eat, just like you mentioned. It's really about that 80-20 rule for me. If 80% of the time I can eat in a way that really fuels and nourishes my body, and then 20% of the time I get to go out with my friends and I get to, perhaps have the occasional drink or, just enjoy chocolate cake at someone's birthday party.
Yeah.
That is how we also live joyfully, in addition to living in a hormonally balanced way, too.
That's awesome. Well, that's an incredible moving story, and I'm sure she would sing your praises as well. Um, Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your expertise. Again, if you want to reach out to Renata, you can find her at naturalhealthnetwork.org and on our directory listing, Nourish with Renata, and all of her links are there. And also on Instagram, Nourish with Renata, and on obviously the NHN Instagram and Facebook page as well. So thank you again, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good night. Bye bye.